Hi everyone and welcome to the first gameplay analysis video for groups E and F of the Jojo's Also Battle League. I apologize for the lack of stuff in the past few days, but my internet's been really patchy. It seems to be good now though, so fingers crossed it stays good. So to start things off, because there's so many matches, I just decided to choose the interesting ones rather than just going in order, all those kind of order. We've got Narancia vs Hermes and Okuyasu vs Kakyoin. I really like Hermes' theme actually, it's probably my favourite so far. So we got a puts and cancel there, but I don't think it was actually necessary. I think she just could have special cancelled. So just then, Aerosmith's normals seem to be bullets. So Narancia gets projectiles normals, which is pretty cool. I was kind of curious how they were going to do Aerosmith's normals. So it seems that they went with the most unique option. He also gets a little propeller on his head, which is cute. This missile that he hit the ground with just before we went to weather report leaves fire on the ground, kind of like Chris's incendiary grenade in Marvel 3, which is pretty cool. Depending on how long the fire lasts for, you could do some cool things. So Narancia has this cinematic move, doesn't do very much damage, so its main use will probably just be ending juggles, if anything. I can't imagine it really being useful for anything else with his wide array of projectiles that he could use for wish punishing instead. That air projectile as well looked like it was really good because it didn't halt his air momentum in any way, so you can jump back and do it and continue falling, so you don't have to worry about being caught out of the air. This is a really cool break hit though, no matter how long it is. So we get, this is like Hermes' unique thing, is the stickers. She can put the sticker on herself to seem to like double her normals, as you'd expect, because it gives her more phantom limbs, I guess. She doesn't really take that good advantage of it in this match, but we still get to see it used, so. And when she gets knocked down, she gets Grey Life, which is the limbs hitting her. It doesn't really seem like that much damage, so I can't imagine it being that much of a hindrance. Like, if you wanted to put the stickers on, why wouldn't you just put the stickers on anyway? Like, this isn't going to deter me from making my character as good as possible, so. So it seems like the maximum number of stickers is 2, because she just put 1 on. She already had 2 on, I didn't get any more. 2 is probably enough. This is a really painful break. This end of it, this crack. This hurts. It sounds like his neck is snapped. This hard hit attack is pretty interesting because it covers so much of the screen without being just a flat projectile. But in a game like this with sidestepping, I don't know how useful it'll be as like a neutral game tool. And it also seems like a kind of mediocre combo ender. So I assume that Narancia will probably end up spending most of his meter on stun rushes, as you'd expect, I guess, from someone that sound like Aerosmith. That's Hermes' OTG. Looks pretty nice. I like the animation. As with every other OTG, it doesn't seem to do that much damage. But. So Hermes and Narancia both seem to have fairly unique things about them. Narancia with his projectile normals on Aerosmith, and Hermes with the stickers. The stickers makes Hermes a really momentum-based character, because you getting knocked down and losing your stickers means that you have to set everything back up again. Whereas if you do get the time to set the stickers up and continue to pressure the opponent, then things will start going more downhill for them. But that one time they do get out of your pressure and knock you down, you have to work hard to get everything back again, which is an interesting way to do things. In other games like StarCraft or anything else, something that works better when you're winning is kind of regarded as silly, but in fighting games, because the whole character is designed around it, it's okay. Like in StarCraft, you have to build a unit that is already good when you're winning, or Magic the Gathering, you have to put a card in your deck that's only good when you're winning, and if you draw it when you're losing, it's bad. But because this whole character is designed around getting into that situation where you're better when you're winning, it's not one of those win more mechanics, so if you're someone coming from another game, it's okay. The whole projectile normal things is pretty cool with Narancia, because it makes him a pretty good zoner. He's going to have a huge variety of projectiles, even if they're all kind of standard shoot bullets forward. The incendiary grenade thing is kind of cool, even if the flame doesn't last that long, and it doesn't put them in block stun for eternities like Chris's does, because it's a neat way to have a trap, basically. You can't have everyone having the same barrier type stuff, so it's a cool way to do things and differentiate things. The cinematic thing as well looks pretty nice for ending a juggle because of how far Aerosmith goes forward, so it's not like you have to have them right in front of you, and it does generate a bit of distance between you, so you got time to back up and set things up again, assuming you do want to stay away from the opponent. And if you can stand rush any of the projectile stuff while you're in Aerosmith mode, then you got a nice easy way to get in and do some pressure if you do ever need to. So that's a cool way to do things. Yeah. I also really like Kakyoin's thing, actually. Nice and... So this is Kakyoin's barrier. There seems to be a lot of similarities between Kakyoin and Jolene, as you kind of expect, given that the whole egg thing, I guess. I shouldn't have brought that up. I'm sorry for everyone. But yeah, his barrier obviously is jumpable. This is not high enough to stop you jumping over it. Like the peak of your jump, you'd be fine. But when you hit it, it releases emerald splashes instead of the old web, like in Heritage for the Future, which is kind of cool. The emerald splashes seem like it's kind of hard for them to hit people, though. This doesn't happen in this match, so I probably should wait until I get a match where it actually happens. But so the move where Hierophant Green wraps them up now has a standard follow-up like Jolene's does. So you won't get any shenanigans with the combo extension like you used to be able to on Heritage for the Future. So Kakyoin's already lost his two biggest combo extenders, the web and the wrap-up. So now, without tandem as well, unless he has some good stand rushes, his combos are going to look completely different, which I guess you'd expect, given it's a completely different game. So, fairly redundant statement, I guess. The air emerald splash, I'll talk about it a bit more later in this match as well, but it recovers fairly fast for an air projectile given its whole thing. Like the multiple emeralds means that people with one-hit projectiles are able to beat it out, like with Johnny as well. So the fact that you can do it in the air and recover so quickly is a pretty cool asset. Of course, as you saw it's not the right angle to threaten full screen. He might have one that goes horizontally in the air, but that's only good for people who are trying to get in. Like a Kuma dead fireball. Okuyasu's Hearty attack obviously takes ages to charge up, as you'd expect given it's unblockable. So you'll have to find some really specific setups for it, and it'll probably still be escapable. If you could combo in such a way that you can set up the unblockable and they wake up and they can't escape it, Okuyasu will be really, really strong because it does an incredible amount of damage, if I remember right, unless they've changed it since the screenshot. his unblockables do a significant amount of damage more than Joseph's hammer, which is neat because he's based around his unblockables. So you'd hope they'd be good. It didn't really look like there was any chance of a follow-up though. So. So as you saw before, and just then, and just before rather, the Emerald Splash from the air, Okuyasu looked like he was still in block stun and hit stun when Kakyoin hit the ground. So it looks like a really good pressure tool that you can avoid lows and then land and have them still in block stun. Because it looks like it cancels with air momentum. Like if you notice, he jumped forward and then he did it, and he just sort of fell down. So you could kind of do it, and then at the minimum height you could do it at, and then just fall back down without having to do the rest of your jump. And generate pressure that way. It's even better if you can special cancel air normals. I don't know if you'd be able to, but if you can, you could do a normal on your way up, and then Emerald Splash, and then land, and that'd be a really strong pressure tool. So what we can take from this is kind of the same with every other All-Star Battle League match that involves a character that can charge and move, is that the AI really likes to charge moves, whether or not it's a good idea. Starfinger, the hammer that Joseph has, Okuyasu's chargeable stuff, the AI just loves charging things. So it's really hard to work out anything about Okuyasu. His teleporty stuff is kind of cool, but the AI doesn't really use it that well. So it's hard to work out how good it'll be as a movement option. It's also hard to tell how safe it is, and safety is obviously an incredibly important part of movement options. If a movement option is unsafe and reactable, then it's impossible to use it because your opponent can just punish you for it every time. So that's a really important part of Okuyasu's game, and we have no idea about it. So thanks for that from the AI. It's not their fault for not knowing how to use it. It's only an AI after all. But Kakyoin, we got to see a lot of cool stuff about Kakyoin because he still has a lot of a lot of similar tools to what he had in Heritage for the Future. The wrap-up and the barrier obviously function differently in that they're less useful for combos, but as a neutral game tool, they're basically the same in that anything you couldn't whiff punish with Hierophant Green's normals, you'd be able to whiff punish with wrap-up now. It looks faster than it did in Heritage, mostly I'd assume because you can no longer combo off it, so... Unless, of course, you can put Sun Cancel the first hit, like I said with Jolene. So, like the wrap-up. If you could put Sun Cancel after they're wrapped up, before Hierophant Green shoots Emerald Splash and get a full combo, that's really cool. And should be really cool for Kakyoin and Jolene. Emerald Splash still looks really strong as a projectile. Like I said, because it's multi-hit, zoners with only one-hit projectiles will have a really hard time against it. So everything keeps looking worse and worse for poor holes. But for Kakyoin, though, things look good. His Hierophant's Green's normals are still quite big. That sweep he did early on in the match was huge, assuming it was the sweep. I hope it's the sweep and not the crouching medium. That's ridiculous. So he still looks like his neutral game will be very similar to Heritage for the Future, in that you want to sit back and just zone behind your projectiles. I assume now that his barrier is no longer wrap up, he won't have that ridiculous 50-50 Oki game anymore. But that didn't really suit Kakyoin as a character, I don't think. I don't think it really fit him, judging from what he did in Stardust Crusaders. So I'm much happier with this more patient, wanting to stay away Kakyoin. Next, I'll probably look at Kaz vs Diavolo and Akira vs Josuke, I guess. Sorry for going in sort of a random order, but with so many matches, it's hard to work out what's best, so I figure I'd just look at my favorites. I'd also like to say that Kaz's theme, in my opinion, is the best theme so far. It might be slightly biased, but... and tomorrow or tonight I'll be working on a new stream overlay with Jojo's characters instead of the usual traps. I was kind of waiting to see if there'd be a Doppio render, but I've given up on hope of getting a Doppio render. so I'll just have to do it without Doppio, which is a bit sad. Unless anyone has anything Doppio-wise that I could put in. If you do, please send it to me, because Doppio is Oldev. Otherwise, it'd probably just be like Narancia and Kakyoin and someone else. I don't know. I haven't thought of it yet. Either way, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and look out for the ultimate being tomorrow. Thank you for watching.